Hello guys, how are you? I hope you are doing great. Just like usual, I will bring an interesting movie storyline. In this video, we will watch a short video about an action movie, Lazarus. Before we jump into the story, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe Professor Yellow Recap and hit the bell button so you won't miss the next video. So, here comes the story. At the beginning of the film, a man in a bulletproof costume was seen being shot at by dome guys with guns. The man named Ray Lazarus said that he had died 3 days ago and somehow he was able to come back to life. The scene switches to a flashback of 3 days ago in a place called Paradise City. Lazarus was injured by gunfire in an alley and was rescued by 2 nurses. In the ambulance, a nurse tried to save his life, but suddenly Lazarus's body shook violently and the nurse declared himself dead. However, a few minutes later Lazarus came back to life and surprised the nurse. Lazarus then immediately left the ambulance. Elsewhere, a mafia boss known as Testament was seen executing one of his subordinates for losing a pure synth, a type of drug he was carrying. The rest of his crew broke the news that Ray Lazarus was dead and vanished to an alley downtown. The scene switches with a girl named Ember who was about to exchange the synth for money, but it turns out that the mafia group who will exchange it was cheating. After getting the synth, they wanted their money back. The girl who was holding the money immediately ran away, and some guys chased after her. Ray Lazarus, who turned out to be a vigilant, was escorted back to a place to exact revenge by his comrades. Ember, who had been desperate, was surrounded by the mafia's men who were after her. Luckily Lazarus came to save the girl. But when he was about to fight, suddenly Lazarus woke up somewhere with something stuck to his body. It turned out that Lazarus woke up in the house of the Ember he saved. Ember said that Lazarus had killed the 3 men who were chasing him, and he himself lay down after the fight. Ember couldn't leave Lazarus there, so he took him home. After a while Lazarus remembered what he had been through. Lazarus, who was still confused, suddenly met a man named Hellborn at Ember's house. The man said that Lazarus had the power to come back to life after death. In addition, he has the ability to absorb the energy and abilities of his enemies. It was the man who gave Ray Lazarus superpower. Elsewhere, Testament was seen meeting his sick sister. He said that his brother would recover, while Priscilla said that she had accepted that she would die. She asked his brother to accept that fact as well. In addition to becoming stronger, it turns out that Lazarus also gets all the memories of the people he killed. Lazarus then found out where the synth was produced and who was behind the crime. Finally, Lazarus was prepared to face the criminal gangs in his city by wearing special clothes and hiding his identity. He also arrived at the plot and immediately killed those who were there. One of them managed to escape and took the money. Before long, Hellborn came and Lazarus said that he got more information and would go to meet a friend. The next day, the leader of the gang, Poet, complained to Testament about Lazarus's attack. By looking at the CCTV footage, they discovered that the man who carried out the attack was Lazarus, the man they had killed. They also wondered how Lazarus could rise from the dead. Later, Lazarus was seen visiting a workshop belonging to an old friend named Pogo. Lazarus asks if his friend has suspicious subordinates and was involved with a drug gang in the city. The friend said that some of his shop had left because they were hired as drug couriers for a leader who was protected and whose identity was unknown. After hearing this, Lazarus left. Somewhere, the Testament goes to a fortune teller and asks about Lazarus who was able to come back from the dead. The fortune teller said that there was an ancient power in Lazarus's body and someone else was guiding him. The fortune teller also said that, in order to stay alive, Lazarus had to suck in the life energy of others. Lazarus's power can be transferred if the Testament can destroy Lazarus's soul by sending his strongest man. Lazarus then went to Ember's house to get information about the Testament. While at Ember's house, suddenly 3 men who were ordered by the Testament came to finish them off. However, Lazarus managed to defeat them despite being hit by a gunshot. Ember, who saw that Lazarus's body was able to return to its original state after being shot, felt very surprised. Later, Hellborn was seen meeting a woman called Epiphany. Epiphany said if someone had been chosen to be Lazarus's opponent. Lazarus and Ember then go to Pogo's house to rest and hide for a while. At first Pogo refused because he didn't want to get involved with Lazarus's business. However, when Lazarus told that he had been offered to be a drug courier. But because he refused, Poet, the leader of the drug couriers in the city, shot Lazarus to death. Pogo didn't believe it, but Lazarus proved it by slashing his hand with a knife, but the wound healed instantly. Next, Lazarus told Ember that he was going to leave and Ember must stay at Pogo's place. Lazarus then meets another old friend named Mike. He invited his friend to join in eradicating drug gangs including Poet and find his boss, the Testament. He also asked Mike to come to Pogo's place downtown. Meanwhile, a police officer named Benjamin Poge was seen interrogating a detainee who was suspected of having information about the Testament. Threatened to be put in a mental hospital, the prisoner also gave the information he knew about the man. Before long, Mike had arrived at Pogo's place. The three of them were talking. Mike then asked Pogo's permission to borrow one of his cars. After that, Pogo shows Lazarus a special outfit that was created to protect his body during the race. This costume can protect Lazarus when fighting later. The Testament then visited his sister again and said that he had found a cure for his sister. Testament didn't want to lose his sister, so he will do anything to keep her alive. Back at Pogo's place, Lazarus was seen talking to Ember until Mike came with his other friends. They came to help Lazarus in his mission to eliminate the drug gang. They also gave information about the number of members of the plot. They said that after the 9 p.m. delivery, the building would be pretty quiet and they could come in to attack. After that, they went to the criminal gang's building and Lazarus got in first while his comrades waited in the car. Lazarus then fought with the gang members and couriers who were there until he was bombarded with gunfire on the roof of the building. Hearing the sound of gunfire, Lazarus's comrades entered the building and helped Lazarus in the battle. In the end, all the couriers and members of the drug gang who were there were killed. In another scene, a muscular man called Endless was seen training and Testament came to ask him to do a job which was to kill Lazarus and his friends. Endless then met Amber and asked for information from her. He said that he would kill Lazarus and his friends and would kill Amber too if she didn't tell her where they were. Elsewhere, Testament was being questioned by the police about the building he owned and his dead courier. When the police asked about the synth on the Testament, he lied and said that he didn't know anything about the type of drug. Police also suspected that Testament was the mastermind behind the deaths of its workers. Endless, who had received information about Lazarus and his friends, immediately hunted one by one and finished them off. He also took their necklaces to prove that he had killed them. Meanwhile, Poet, who was worried about his business, came to ask the Testament to do something. The Testament said that he sent Endless to solve the problem and sent Lazarus to him. Then, Endless arrived at Mike's place, one of Lazarus's close friends. The two of them fight until Endless makes Mike battered and dying. Elsewhere, Epiphany was seen meeting the fortune teller and thanking her for her help. Thanks to the fortune teller, she found an opponent to match Lazarus. After a while, Lazarus arrived at Mike's place and found him dying. Mike told Lazarus that he had fought Endless as best he could and before long, Mike breathed his last. Lazarus, who lost his friends, went to find Endless to avenge the deaths of his friends. Finally, Lazarus found Endless somewhere and they immediately started fighting. Lazarus, who now has the power to defeat Endless and avenge him. After Endless died, Lazarus learned about the Testament's whereabouts from his memory. Lazarus immediately went to the Testament headquarters. There he had to face many of the Testament's men. With the power he has, Lazarus was able to finish off and absorb all the life energy of the Testament subordinates he defeats. Lazarus then comes to Testament, who was trying to escape. Testament, who knew that Lazarus was coming, was already prepared with an electric stun gun in his hand. Both of them got into a fight, and with his weapon, Testament managed to beat Lazarus to the ground. Lazarus immediately got up and he replied to Testament so he could strangle the Testament. However, just as he was about to kill Testament, Lazarus looked into Testament's memory and saw Testament's sister dying. Seeing that, Lazarus gave up his intention to kill Testament. Because of that, Hellborn suddenly appeared and asked Lazarus why he didn't just finish him off. Lazarus refused to finish Testament and told Hellborn to do it by himself as he had already killed too many for him. After leaving Testament headquarters, Lazarus met Benjamin Poge, who came to arrest him for the murder he committed. Lazarus defended himself by saying that those he killed were a criminal gang that had killed many people and poisoned the city with drugs. After that, Lazarus asked the police for time to complete his mission and left. Elsewhere, the dead Endless was brought back to life by Epiphany, who came to see him. She then told Endless that they had something to discuss. Lazarus then returned to Pogo's place, and there he also met Ember. When Ember asked about Mike and others, Lazarus just stayed silent, and Ember hugged him. Meanwhile, a police officer who was investigating a murder case in the city told Benjamin Poge about Lazarus. Poge said that he already knew about the man named Lazarus, and the police officer said that he was no longer a man. So, that was all the storyline of the movie. Pretty interesting, right? I hope you enjoy the video and please give a thumb up, subscribe and share with your friends. See you in the next video.